Hi, my name is Darla Beam and I'm with DB Leadership and Coaching, and welcome back. I'm super excited to have you here today, taking time and space. Purpose of this video is to discuss relationships, and specifically transactional relationships versus transformational relationships. What's a transactional relationship? This is where we are seeing one another as objects, right? So not as human beings. A transactional relationship is where I'm doing something and I'm paying the grocer and they're bagging my groceries, right? It's seeing one another as a way to get somewhere else. Versus transformational relationships, where when you leave the interaction, when you leave the conversation, you feel like something inside of you has shifted. Something has changed, and you might not be sure of exactly what it is, but you just know that there's something different and that you are not the same as you were going into the conversation. You might be asking yourself, well, what does it take to create a transformational relationship or transformational interaction? The very first thing that we need to do, that I do, is to set an intention, right? My intention is to really connect with this person, to go deep with this person. The intention might be to transform. The second is really, I cannot emphasize this enough. Deep listening. Not listening with your ears and trying to think about what you want to say back to them next. What I'm talking about is like listening with your heart. Listening to what's really going on inside the other human being. Listening to their heart. Listen to what they're not saying. That's the second thing, is listening. And the third thing is really just being there with them and sort of interacting in a way it's not in space and time. You're co-creating something together. And what comes out of it is completely different from what would come out of it if you were sitting there by yourself or if you were with a different person. So it's those three things, right? It's intention, it's listening and creating that connection, and it's this co-creation. It's like the synchronicity. I wanted to share a little story with you of how this came about in my life just recently. I had lunch with two different friends, and it was actually really interesting. The first meeting, we came together and immediately just connected and went very deep, and got really curious and asked one another questions, and there was listening, and it was really like a humming. Somebody came to the table and remarked on it. Somebody who was at a different table came over and made a comment about, like, I don't know, the vibe that we were putting out into the restaurant. And when I left, there were people actually staring as I walked away. And I was like, what is going on? And I reached out to my friend afterward and said, what was that? And, the person said, basically, it was a transformational conversation, right? And the next day I had lunch with another friend, and it was completely, although I wasn't judging it in the moment, upon reflection, I can see where I was being talked at. I really wasn't being heard. There wasn't curiosity, there wasn't openness. When I was commenting, the other person, it seemed like they were listening so that they could say what they wanted to say and almost like one-up me. Not quite competitive, but there was some of that. And so I left it not feeling seen and not feeling heard. And I'm so glad that these two interactions happened back to back, because it really got me clear that my commitment and my intention going forward is to only have transformational interactions and transformational relationships. And that happens in every conversation that I have. Every conversation. That is my intention. So I want to challenge you today to go out and have some transformational conversations that will lead into transformational relationships. And I'd love to hear more about it. You can contact me on my website at darlabeam.com to hear more. and look for more content in the future. Thank you so much for being here with me today and sharing this time and space. Have a great day.